we put out a video this week testing and kind of evaluating Cursive, Google's note-taking app. This is an app that was announced a while back in, when was it?
Well, I looked
When
back.
they put it in the article.
August, I think it was.
No.
Yeah.
Not August. Yeah, I think it was September
Andy
of last
Cam, help
year.
us out here.
Was it? It was in conjunction with the X2, right?
If you look at the article that I talked about Cursive, I linked it in there.
Yeah, I know
I
it's
think
in
it's
there
I want to say
somewhere.
August, but I've been referring to a lot of old stuff.
Like-
Anyway, it's been around for a while.
What was
Cursive
it?
has.
Well, it shows May, but I think that was more of 102.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's whenever they kind of more formally rolled it out.
It would have been September 8th was the article.
There you go.
September.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was going to say, I think they announced it in August and it rolled out in September.
Yeah.
But it was meant to be an app that was like going to debut on the HP Chromebook X211, and I thought maybe they'd figure out a way to like lock it to that device.
Yeah.
They obviously didn't. It's a PWA.
Because
so
at first we were trying to test it on other devices. And
we're just trying to
like,
find it.
Yeah.
Couldn't get it. And then once the HP came out and we had the address, it's like, cool, it's there it is. And so maybe, it didn't install on its own, and had we not existed, and somebody would have found it and put it on the internet. But had no one done that, I guess technically it wasn't like pre-installed on a bunch of devices. And so with 102, they're like, hey, we're making this an app. I think it's pre-installed now. I think it's one that shows up.
Go back
I don't know.
and look.
I always keep it installed, so I'm not sure. But they announced it like to the broader Chromebook audience. Like, it's not like it was new or anything, but in doing so, it seemed like maybe ChromeOS 102 probably had a few things under the hood. I've been seeing a lot of stuff for handwriting and stuff like that in the repositories. Nothing's been particularly clear. It's not this is what they did. But there's been enough activity around that stuff that it's like, okay, maybe, they waited for 102 because 102 had all the stuff in it that made Cursive better on most devices. And so, I'd kind of written it off, thinking one day maybe Cursive will be a useful thing. But for me right now, most times I try it, it's just laggy enough that it's just not workable. We were pretty harsh on it when it first came out, I feel like for good reason. And I've heard from random other people. I think Jackson has told me multiple times that on the HP X2, it had gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
Probably in the last month or so. Because that tells me they've been working on some things specifically for that device at least to make it better. And maybe that stuff's now widely available. I'm not really sure, but for the most part, from most devices, it feels like a usable tool now. Like it's. And I'll do this with Cursive or whatever. I'll get it and be like, ooh, that's pretty good. Here, try it. And you try it. And especially like Joe takes more notes, than either of us
All
combined.
of us combined.
And so, I usually hand it to him like, try taking notes, see what this is like. And I think one of the videos we did, remember we put it up against the Apple Pencil and an iPad, and like it needs to be this level.
Yep.
And I would say like a Surface and a Surface Pen, but I was messing with one of those devices somebody else had the other day, and I was like, this isn't the best. And it could have just been, there could have been something going on with it at the time, but it wasn't great. It was okay. It was actually the Surface Duo 2 with the new flat Surface Pen.
Right.
So I was like, oh, this is going to be sweet. And I started writing, I'm like, wow. Have that back. That's terrible.
It's like my old Palm Pilot. Thanks.
Wow.
Neat. But he seemed to like it, and it works fine for him. So I didn't want to say anything. But it felt pretty laggy, and I was just like, I guess this isn't unique to, just Chrome OS. But we started testing it, and I started pulling every device we had with USI support, and it's in the video, but generally speaking, it feels like the majority of devices with higher end processors seem to do better with it. And so I don't know if like handwriting, like to do it without lag, just takes an exceptional amount of processing.
Isn't
power.
like really good e-ink devices aren't really good e-ink devices? Aren't they pretty pricey?
Yeah, I mean that
Maybe
remarkable one that I see get. I mean,
they advertise to me like crazy.
Yeah. Like
I've got a good marketing budget apparently.
I've seen a lot of them lately.
Maybe that's why. Maybe it's just.
You ever written on one of those things?
I have not.
Someone at a Best Buy somewhere.
No,
and I
I've
got to
never
write
messed
on it. I was
with
like, holy
look,
crap.
they look. I mean,
It feels like a pencil.
They look
on paper.
remarkable.
Ah.
Sorry.
That was punny.
Full dad.
That wasn't even a pun. That was just dead on.
That sir is accurate.
But those devices don't have like huge overhead with processing power, so I don't know. I just feel like it's a task that maybe if you don't have the hardware and the internals specifically geared towards it, like some processing has to happen. I don't know, but that doesn't fully explain why it's so terrible on the Lenovo.
Sure.
The ThinkPad that's got the Ryzen 3000, so the Ryzen 5 3000 series. Not the fastest Chromebook in the world, but I even did it a favor. I plugged it in so it'd be full powered, and it's still laggy as all get out. So it's like, is it the screen? Is it the processor? We couldn't tell, and we kind of tried to get to a point in the video of saying it does seem like your odds are better if the processor's better,
right?
Of it being a good experience. That being said, if the processor's good enough, and things work out. When they work, it works really, really well now. And to the point that I don't think anymore used to, it'd be like, well, it's lagging. So it feels like it's lagging on everything. It's probably Cursive is no good. Now it feels more like if it's lagging, it's either a problem with the processor, the screen, the pen, something like that. But I feel like we can, like Cursive isn't the factor anymore.
Yeah, right.
It's Cursive is the constant. Like Cursive is good, and so now if there's a problem, it's somewhere else. It's either with ChromeOS or with, the screen or whatever. But interestingly enough, we were going to film, and I needed one to look bad to make my point. I should have went straight to the Lenovo because it's literally the worst. And no hate on Lenovo, but that particular device, just inking on it's awful.
I mean, we film in 30 frames a second now,
and you can clearly
and
see
you can
it.
Still just very clearly see
the
like that
frame
one
rate-
side shot. It's like
it's a good half to a quarter inch behind the pen stroke, just moving very slowly across the screen. But the CM3 detachable, which is basically the Lenovo Chromebook Duet made by Asus, it was behaving poorly too. And so I was like, okay, maybe lower end devices have trouble with this. But when we were going to try to actually record it being bad, it was super good.
Fine.
I was like, well, crap. I go fast and go slow, and didn't matter what I did. That ink was like right on the stinking pen. And I was like, well, we can't show this because maybe it's just having a good day. I don't know.
it woke up on the right side of the bed this morning.
It's learning.
Pick it up, man.
Ready to go.
No idea. So I feel a little more confused. And I think we made that point in the video.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
we
just-
don't have a firm here's what it is.
Right.
We are going to start testing the review we filmed this week of the Spin 513, which is it's not out yet, but so we'll talk about it next week. Glowing review though, just fantastic device, and it inks very well. It was the one that I first tested and I was like, whoa, why is this so good?
Yeah.
And so that got me testing it on others. But it's to the point now where Cursive is this usable tool. So I could see having a tablet where it performs properly. I'm testing a tablet right now. It doesn't perform properly, and we'll talk about why that is in a minute.
Yeah.
But I could see using that tablet and being in a meeting or even reading a book or whatever, something where you're split screening and taking notes on the right side on a regular basis. Not as wouldn't this be neat if this actually worked well enough to use it as a tool, but this works well enough to use this as a tool. You could have a website pulled up in a 2/3, or what does it do? It does 3/4, 1/4, doesn't it, on tablet?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe having Cursive just as the 1/4 slot and be able, over here we want to take that and, jot notes over here. I could 100% see doing this, or, a device in a convertible fashion. But
it's
it's actually usable
I
now.
was sitting in a class last night and I was thinking about that. I rarely ever use a stylus, but I do like to take notes when I'm sitting in a seminar or a meeting or something. I do because it helps me flesh out what I'm understanding. But I was like, I had a book from Playbooks open on the left side, and I was like, man, if I could take notes side by side,
Wouldn't that be neat?
It'd be awesome. So
I went and I tried that once. I think it was at church or something. And I was like, I'm gonna give this a roll. I think it's when it was during COVID and we were doing online stuff. I'm like, I'm gonna try this. It was early Cursive days actually, and I'm like, I'm gonna try. It was so terrible. I just put it down. Forget it. I don't need to do this. But yeah, for devices and we're gonna talk about it a little bit here in a minute too, like the Dragonfly. It's got that rechargeable stylus on the side with that nice 13.5-inch screen. I could see getting pretty productive note taking this way with it.
Is the Dragonfly doing the magnetic one too? Just like the X2?
Like Dragonfly checks all boxes.
Mhm.
Does it have?
Yep.
Yeah,
Does it?
that explains why. When we'll get to this in a second, but the Gen 2 HP pen, that explains that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about USI here in a minute, but Cursive in general isn't the problem anymore, which is really neat,
nice. Yeah.
because it's web based. Like it doesn't work. We found out on any computer. I thought it's like, well, that's a PWA. Who cares?
Yeah, it's weird. So I tried to load it on a Mac, which it doesn't have touchscreen anyway, but whatever. It tries, it like says, hey, this isn't designed for this, but go ahead and try if you want to. It's kind of like, hey, you're on your own.
We need to try it on the Surface. Or a little Surface
Ooh,
Go.
that's a good
Since
idea.
maybe I wonder
Yeah,
if
it might just be a
it might be
touchscreen.
pinging it saying it's not a touchscreen and turning it off.
That makes sense.
So yeah, you
We've
can
got
totally
the
go
Surface
there.
Pen
Yeah.
here
If
somewhere,
you got a
too.
web browser, you can totally go there on any device. But have you tried on your phone? It should work
Yeah.
on your phone, right?
I mean, we have our
don't have a
Surface Go
pen.
back. It was gone.
The new Pixel phones need to be USI compliant.
That would be dope.
I mean, if
Why
that way,
not?
if I need a stylus, I just go grab my USI pen and
What's
grab it.
what's the URL?
Just a little precision of tapping around if you're doing something.
Cursive.apps.
I don't know.
Chrome.
Cursive.chrome.
Yeah,
I
so
don't know.
this is what it says, and it did it on my phone. Cursive is designed for Chromebooks. Open Cursive on a Chromebook
even
for
have a
best
mobile layout.
experience, but then it says continue anyway. I don't need a quick tour.
Give me a
Oh,
tour.
if he signs in and it works, it'd be kind of
That'd be
nifty.
It's continue anyway.
Does Cursive do? Will it take your handwritten notes
Probably not.
and
I
transcribe
don't
them? Probably not. You didn't even know what I was saying.
I know that's why.
But
I did
it
that.
should. Google's got that embedded in stuff
My guess.
already.
I think they're going to keep adding stuff to Cursive. It's fun toys
Because that's
that
like,
we didn't really get a chance to mess.
Can't lock it.
Oh, it has a.
It's
There's
somewhere.
a lock. There is
tap the screen.
So show
shows-
the lock right there.
Yep.
Canvas lock. Okay.
And then
And then
tap
click
that in the top
click
right.
that little guy right there. Now it'll lock your canvas. Yeah, but it still doesn't work.
Still doesn't work. Yeah.
Google's like, will you
Give me
lay
your
off?
pen.
Yeah. just right. Just gonna say.
That's weird.
But yeah, I mean, it's,
It says read only.
oh, that's weird. Oh, it
so
knows.
you can
It knows you're on a
access
phone.
your
It's like,
yeah. You can access
you
your
can look at
notes,
your
and
that's
yeah,
what it's for.
makes sense.
Here's a couple things I would love to see them add now that I feel like they've got the main thing. The problem was like they launched it and they're like, here's the cool stuff it does, which is really cool. You can lasso something and move it, which is
Add
great.
a line, right?
You draw a line between things. Anytime it glows, you can enact on it. So you draw the line, it glows, you touch it, and then you can just move stuff,
Add-
just create
yeah.
space. You can scribble stuff out. If it glows, touch it, boom, it's gone. Really cool tricks, very good stuff. I like that. But I think they need to add text annotation.
Yeah.
In some way. I know that was it Noto?
There was
No.
one that we tested or something that
with
had
the
it.
with the iPad, and
Yeah.
it works on Chromebooks too. But as you write, it puts the text right above it. I don't love that because then you got to go format your text. I'm like, to me, I type very quickly. There's zero purpose in doing that for me. Like for me, notes are I'm going to take notes when it's something that I need to be able to kind of spread out some stuff on and write
Yeah.
that bullet points and bullet lists aren't great at. And
Yeah.
so, like to me, the best note taking app would be a thing where I can put a cursor anywhere I want in space and just type boxes of text. I think that would, because I can read it afterwards, one, and
Yeah.
two, I can think more spatially.
Yep.
That's where note taking is beneficial to me.
Yep.
So having text, I don't want to write and make text. Like I could type it 10 times as fast and it's going to miss 10 times less. And like that, I don't know that there's a whole lot of room for that, but I really hope they add, like more pen strokes because it's not a drawing app. They have Canvas. It's Google, right?
Yeah.
So let's make two apps for what we could have done the same thing in. But, they've got Canvas. So if you want to draw, I guess, like use Canvas, which they haven't been trumpeting Canvas that much. But again, if they'll keep pushing time into these things, like Canvas could become a really awesome tool as well. But Cursive's main thing, I would love to see, honestly, I wish they would just pair it or roll it into Google Keep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, let me start a new note in Google Keep and use Cursive. Like,
And that's a Google Keep.
I want to
like,
make a cursive note or something.
What was
whatever.
the thing that they added this week, or they're adding? I think
They're
Michael
finally
wrote-
doing text formatting.
Yeah, text formatting, but it's like,
So you can do
why
like
is it-
3 text sizes, bold, italic. Well, they have bold, italic, I think, already now,
Yeah.
apparently. But I mean, you have Google Docs, so you have a lot of years of knowing how to deal with all this kind of stuff. Like, let me do some of that stuff in my notes, and that would be great. And by the way, you have a great notes app. That's what Cursive is for. It's just handwritten notes. So pair them up. Like, they could be standalone apps still. But if I want to merge the two, like, I should be able to access or create a cursive note in Google Keep.
I was curious, like,
They still have the handwriting
yeah,
tool
I was
in
like,
there,
I was
so just
curious if
just,
like what the interface looked like.
just
if it was
replace
similar.
it
Yeah.
with cursive.
Right.
Like, put cursive in there, and let me access my notes between the two services in the same spot. That part I don't really understand. I just wish they would have just taken that, and maybe there's something with the back end of Google Keep that prevented them from doing what they're doing with cursive. I don't know, but let them stay separate. Just merge them. Like, Keep, Cursive, and Canvas should all work.
Yeah.
So they need to interoperate with one another, and part of that could be it's a slow development of this progressive web app. They're working on these things, and I'm glad we're pushing up to a year. But I'm glad they're finally going, hey, instead of adding more, pen colors and what else you got, eraser types and, stroke types and all that stuff, get the lag under control.
Yeah.
Because without that, it's complete. It doesn't matter if it can build me a house.
You have to have the foundation there.
The first thing has to work. And so I'm glad to see, I feel like they've taken care of that, which is really cool because I want them to have a good handwriting app.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They need to have one that's first party, but they needed to do it in a progressive web app.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, make sure to go down there and click subscribe. Click the little thumbs up next to it, above
Ring
it.
the bell.
And
Ring
the
the
bell.
bell.
Definitely ring the bell.
The bell helps because it kind of
It breaks the algorithm.
breaks the algorithm a
It
little
does
bit.
it. Stick it to the man.
Yeah, gives you a
Just
little
kidding, Google.
notification.
No, seriously.
Just gives you a little notification when we publish a video.
Maybe even leave a comment.
Maybe leave a comment.
We could.
Yeah.
I think they should do all of these
I
things.
like all of those things.
Yeah, do those things. We appreciate it. Thanks for watching.